We are less than 30 days from the 2024 presidential election, which means each of the candidates are out there in their final sprint to make their case to the American people. And while Kamala Harris is out there talking about substantive issues like reproductive rights and the opportunity economy she intends to create, Donald Trump is out there spreading conspiracy theories, lying about the federal government, and just spreading downright hate at his rallies. But if you end up getting anything out of this video, please do remember to hit that subscribe button, as I am trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year and would very much appreciate your support. So like I said, Donald Trump is out there doing rally after rally after rally. Most of these rallies are very low energy, but a couple staples from these rallies is talking about immigrants and mass deportations. And I think the rhetoric surrounding these topics is getting more and more and more hateful. It's pretty disgusting to watch. And then the other staple from these rallies is the federal response to Hurricane Helene. And he has just been telling downright lies about how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the federal government writ large is nowhere to be found, and that they are leaving Americans out to dry. It's quite disgusting, and it's actually hurting Americans. So let's go ahead and take a look at Trump saying that there has been absolutely, this is the worst response ever to a natural disaster.
But she threw open our border, destroyed the middle class, and now as our citizens are suffering from catastrophic hurricane, I mean, this hurricane has been a bad one. Kamala Harris has left them stranded. This is the worst response to a storm or a catastrophe or a hurricane that we've ever seen, ever. Probably worse than Katrina, and that's hard to beat, right? Worse than Katrina. They didn't do too good a job either, but this is worse. And she sends their money to foreign nations. He and she, they send hundreds of billions of dollars. They send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations. And you know what they're giving our people? $750. 700. Here, Tycho. This is the worst response, I think. Troy, what do you think?
So Donald Trump is just lying. That $750 that everybody keeps on citing is the actual cash that you can get right now to make sure that you have things like food, baby formula, clothing, toiletries, whatever it may be. There are many other programs that the federal government provides for people to tap into. The $750 is the cash amount that you can get right after disaster strikes. So Donald Trump is just lying out his ass. And this is hurting American people, because when people hear stuff like this, that there's either very, very little aid or there's no aid at all, people are less likely to apply for that aid. Donald Trump is hurting Americans with this rhetoric. He goes on to say that the federal government hasn't even responded at all. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
If you want someone who steals your wealth and abandons your family when the flood's waters rise, those flood waters rise and they were gone. They haven't seen anybody from the federal government yet. The federal government isn't there. And by the way, how good a guy is Elon Musk? Right? You saw him last.
So again, Donald Trump is just lying. These are conspiracy theories about FEMA are somehow going into neighborhoods and they are confiscating people's property and taking over their land. This is just not true. Joe Biden made sure that these disaster declarations were signed well before Hurricane Helene even made landfall, to make sure that there was absolutely no delay in people getting the help that they needed. And officials from all over the affected states are coming out there and saying that the federal government has been on top of things. People are on the ground. National Guard is deployed. FEMA's deployed. We are throwing every resource that we have at this disaster because it's been one of the worst disasters that this country has seen. And again, these types of statements, this type of rhetoric hurts Americans. He then goes on to say that the White House is somehow ignoring conservative areas. It's disgusting.
He said, we have no communication in North Carolina. People are dying. Like 500 people are missing. It's a disaster. The federal government is doing, the White House is doing nothing. They've abandoned us. And you know, it's largely a Republican area. So some people say they did it for that reason. I don't even think they're that bad, but they probably, maybe they are. But they want Starlink.
Every Republican governor has come out and said that Joe Biden and the federal government has been on top of it, that they are getting all of the resources that they need. And the federal government is on standby to give them whatever else they need. Donald Trump should be absolutely ashamed of himself because not only is he lying and undermining trust in our government, in our institutions, he's hurting American people, individual folks. Because when they hear this type of rhetoric, like the federal government is nowhere to be found, or that the aid has run out, they are less likely to apply for these resources that they might desperately need. So shame on Donald Trump. This pathetic little loser is hurting Americans. Also, he can score a few political points. But let's go ahead and move on from Hurricane Helene. Donald Trump is increasing his authoritarian type language. And the first thing I want to show you here was just a really weird moment when he was showing pictures of himself from the night before because he wanted to show off his crowd size. This sounds like Kim Jong-un stuff to me. Like, hey, look at me. Look how powerful and popular I look. I mean, this is just really quite strange.
And we have something to show you the kind of crowd we had last night. It was really something special. So let's put it up if we can.
So just so you're not confused, Donald Trump has a big giant projector or some screen of some sort that he casts images onto, and he is showing people an image of his crowd from the day before. Very strange stuff.
That's the wrong picture. That was unbelievable. They used the wrong picture. It's the same picture, but they have the two side things. Are so stupid. But that's what we have that every once in a while, right?
So apparently he's calling his staff stupid as well because they didn't put up the right photo or something. It is all just weird. It's all just strange. And I am looking forward to this election being over with. I have to tell you. Let's move on to Trump trying to say that, 60 Minutes owes him an apology and that he should make them apologize. Again, with this authoritarian type rhetoric, trying to force people or force organizations to do what Donald Trump wants them to do because his ego is so fragile. This is the types of things he likes to do.
Remember Leslie Stahl. She's another real heavyweight. Leslie Stahl, we got into like an argument on 60 Minutes, and I turned out to be right. But to the best of my knowledge, I have not received an apology. That was a big deal at the time. She said, how dare you? You shouldn't say that. This was from Russia. I said, it wasn't from Russia. It was from Hunter. Oh, it's terrible. So we're waiting for an apology. They want to do it again. I'll do it again, but they got to apologize. Don't you think I should make them apologize?
Again, just really strange, really dumb stuff from Donald Trump. And the crowd is just cheering it on. This is why we call it a cult. These are strange things to be cheering at. These are strange things for a leader who wants to lead this country to be saying. It's authoritarian, obviously not respecting the free press, trying to say he should make them apologize. I think it's all just quite pathetic. Donald Trump also was trying to say that he is going to liberate Wisconsin from the mass immigration and the flooding in of people. And I think that this type of language is very intentional. Liberate. Set you free. Like they are being somehow oppressed as conservatives or as part of the MAGA cult.
Today I make you this promise. I will liberate Wisconsin and our entire nation from this mass migration invasion of murderers, child predators, drug dealers, gang members, and thugs. Going to be liberated. Going to liberate. It's incredible. It would be just incredible.
And again, you've got the crowd right there chanting Trump's name like the cult that they are. This is just not cool. He even hit on that word multiple times. I'm going to liberate, liberate, liberate. This is meant to evoke emotion in the crowd. Donald Trump is particularly good at this, and he doesn't use these words. I'll just say that he uses some of these words very intentionally. Because if these people feel righteous in their battle against the other side, they're going to be more willing to elevate their efforts to defeat the other side. And then he said something very strange about mass deportations and sending immigrants back. He said, we're going to shove them down your throat. I mean, just very hateful, very authoritarian type stuff.
They're bringing them into the United States of America, and they're dumping them, and they say, don't come back, and if you do come back, we're going to kill you. And we're stuck with them. We're not going to be stuck with them. We're going to be bringing them back, and we're going to shove them right down their throat. They should have never been allowed to be here.
Again, the crowd cheering along the way. Just this hateful rhetoric towards any outsider. This is more of that authoritarian type language, talking about shoving things down people's throats if they do not obey. And then the cult just chants it all along like this is the best stuff in the world. It's really quite disgusting to see. It's really disheartening that such a large swath of people in this country are more willing to have dictator Trump than they are to see Kamala Harris win. And when you watch these rallies and you notice this energy and the language he's using and the things, the disgusting things that they rally behind, it becomes ever so clear. And of course, it wouldn't be a Trump rally unless he was talking shit about America, because that's what Trump likes to do. Every single day he opens his mouth. We're a failing nation, of course. Let's go ahead and take a look.
This is so important what we're doing. We're saving our country. This country is in big trouble. We're a failing nation. We are a failing nation. We're a nation in decline. We're a nation in distress. And we're going to get it fixed very quickly. But you know what? If we have to go with another 4 years of these people, and she's worse.
Yeah. I mean, what do we expect from Donald Trump? There is so much bad stuff in these rallies these days. It's hard to cover it all. And we've become so normalized to all of the hateful rhetoric, to all of the authoritarian speak, that some of this stuff doesn't even get covered anymore in the mainstream media. It's quite pathetic. People like this should be nowhere near our White House. We already know he has no respect for our institutions. He has no respect for our democracy. He has no respect for immigrants. And that shines through quite clearly when you listen to these rallies. And he's threatening to deport people to countries that they didn't even come from. It's all quite disturbing. It's all stuff that we need to remember when we go vote in November. But I'll leave it there, guys. If you got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and would very much appreciate your support. If you want to learn how Donald Trump uses these rallies to create fake realities for his MAGA cult, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.